Media, new gun law in Georgia, where gun owners get more freedom to carry their weapons in places like bars, churches, schools, airports. Those who are for it say it's a better way to protect families. Opponents are calling it the Guns Everywhere bill.
People can legally take guns into some schools, some churches, some bars, and even parts of the airport.
The ceremonial signing of one of the most controversial bills of this year's legislative session.
Today, I will put into law a gun bill that heralds self-defense, personal liberties, and public safety.
Licensed gun rights owners from across Georgia came to witness the move that will expand their rights to legally carry their weapons into bars, unsecured government buildings, and churches that give the okay.
I just don't think that's a good idea at all.
This would be a perfect opportunity for someone who wants to take revenge out on a group of people.
Supporters say it lets you protect yourself and your family.
It will allow me to take control of the situation.
Yes, it is a community where we cling to religion and guns.
I think the gun bill is very important because it does extend the rights while respecting the rights of private property owners.
This law make Georgia safer?
And it's certainly not going to make it any less safe.
There you go, done deal. This is the bill signed into law. It's going to take effect July 1st, so it's not like they're haggling over it anymore. It's a done deal. But let's get an expert's opinion on this. Our HLN law enforcement analyst Mike Brooks, and we want to give you the understanding as we go over each of the different scenarios we talked about: bars, churches, schools, airports. We'll go through all that, but let's get an initial take from you on this, as you see, because a lot of Georgia law enforcement was not for this, right?
No, a lot of them weren't, Mike. And one of the reasons is, as a former law enforcement officer myself, let's say I'm on duty and I'm patrolling and I'm walking down the street and I can clearly see the outline of a weapon in somebody's pocket, or I can see it under their shirt. Well, with the new law, the police officers are forbidden from asking anyone, hey, do you have a Georgia state carry permit? Only if they're committing a crime are they allowed to ask them, probable cause that a crime is being committed. To me, that's not right. I don't like that.
Got it. Okay. Well, let's go over the scenarios. And we mentioned gun in a bar. Here's what was the law.
Right. That
it banned unless the owner specifically approved it. Now, basically, it flips, that you can carry it into a bar unless the owner bans firearms. So just the emphasis shifts. In other words, it's okay unless they tell you otherwise.
Right.
And that gets to what was talked about in our meeting. Do people want guns and booze together, right?
Yeah, but hopefully, there are 500,000 people in Georgia that have a concealed weapons permit, Mike, and they go through background checks. So hopefully these are law-abiding citizens who won't mix booze and guns, and react badly if they're under the influence of alcohol. But then again, you never can tell, but it's up to the bar owner.
Got it. Same thing here with the churches. Before, no guns in churches, period. Now, you can have it unless the church bans the firearm. Again, the emphasis just shifts here, right?
Exactly. But whether it's a bar or a church, let's say you do have it, and they said, hey, you can't have to leave, and I don't want to leave, and police are called. They're not going to arrest you for carrying that weapon. In fact, they're not even going to ask you for your license, but you could get a $100 fine.
Right. Okay. So there you have it. We're getting you all the information on this one. Next one, schools. And this one kind of is convoluted, if you ask me. Maybe you can clear it up for us, Mike, because
it's tough.
Before this law, and it will, again, take effect July 1st, you could get permission from an authorized official of the school, let's say a principal. Now it depends on a school board. So you could have, and opponents would say, well, now you're going to have contentious debates, but it shifts somewhat the decision, right? What do you make of this?
It does, but it says you're allowed to carry a weapon. A duly authorized official of a public or private elementary or secondary school or public or private technical school, vocational school, college, university, or other institution of post-secondary education, or a local school of education. So who is authorized? It would be police officers, U.S. prosecutors, because you're allowed to carry a weapon if you're a local prosecutor. But still, a lot of school boards are going to say, no, we still do not want weapons in our schools. And with the school shootings, that's what brought about this whole debate, Mike.
Got it. Well, let's hit the other one, and I know you have an opinion on this one concerning airports. Before, no guns on airport grounds. Now, some common areas, yes. parking, shops. Of course, you're not allowed to pass a gun through security checkpoints. But what's your take on this? And again, guns at or near airports.
I don't think people need to take a gun into an airport because it said airport drive. As soon as you enter the airport property, you weren't allowed to have one. But now you can walk all the way up to a checkpoint, to the security checkpoint with a concealed weapon. Before you couldn't, Mike. But, you know, what comes to mind? The Los Angeles LAX shooting, where someone walked right up to the checkpoint and shot and killed a TSA officer.
Got it. Okay. There's one other area, and we'll just hit it on it real quick. But it's gun laws regarding government buildings. And if there's a security checkpoint and all of that, it's still a no-go. When you're talking about state capitol, Atlanta City Hall, big cities, it's more for rural areas, right, where there is no security or checkpoints.
Well, let's say here in DeKalb County in Georgia, where I go to get my tag for my motorcycle and my car. There's no guard and there's no checkpoint there, so you can walk into that government building. But, you know, you go walk right down the street here to the federal courthouse. You still have U.S. Marshals and other courthouses also, you know, in most of the counties do have that. But you're right, some of the smaller counties do not. You'd be allowed to take it into a courthouse.